Fark stood at the door of the warehouse, looking in wonder at the contraptions before him. What are these things? Scott, his human friend who owned this warehouse, looked back at him. Cool, isn't it? These are machines from ancient history, my friend. He went over to one that looked like a cylinder attached to a box. It had other shapes coming from it, and it was on wheels, with the back wheels being massive. Scott put his hand on the gigantic metal wheel. This is called a steam engine, and it's what I study. Farks walked closer as if the machine would lash out at him. Suddenly he started to recognize the mechanical components. Is that the Pearson cylinder, and is that the gear assembly? Why are they out in the open like that? What kind of historian are you? Scott started climbing to the controls. Oh, a damn good historian, is what I am. I built these machines in order to teach about the history of human engineering. He looked down at Farks. I think that as a mechanical engineer yourself, you'd like to see ancient human tech. It does look fascinating, Farks admitted. But why steam power? Scott shrugged. We still use steam in our reactors, we just don't use it for locomotion anymore. But steam was around for a few hundred years before we mastered internal combustion engines. After millennia of technological development, we still use heated water vapor. Why? What's so perfect about steam? Why haven't we fully resigned steam to the shelf? I also just happen to like steam power. Farks looked at his human friend. Well, I'm here, so let's get this thing running. Starting up a steam engine was dirty, or at the very least not as dirty as it could have been. Thankfully, this steam engine ran on propane and not coal, which was the traditional way of powering it. The teeth of the gears, which Farks had thought painted black, were coated by a thick grease that now stained his sleeves. After 2 hours, they sat at the controls, which required 2 people to operate. One operator ran the clutch and accelerator while the other steered. The engine sat alive, its smokestack producing nothing but heat. All right, Scott said. I'm about to give her some power, get ready. Wait, Farks said, holding up a hand. Where's the brake? Oh, Scott said, giving him a very human grin. There are no brakes. We just throw this in reverse and pray. And he set it forward. Farks watched nervously as the clutch caught the flywheel, sending the giant tractor forward. The metal beast rolled out of the warehouse at a blistering 3 miles an hour, taking a looping path that wandered around the property. At first it was terrifying, but as he got used to the controls of steering, he got more relaxed. It was clunky, seen as how steering just meant manipulating a length of chain behind the front wheels. As he watched the gears spin and the wheels turn, he realized that this was history. All the mechanisms he was seeing were the exact same as he was familiar with, just simpler. These must have been the first mechanical things humans made. When did steam catch on with humanity? Scott let out a breath. That's a doozy of a question. Humanity has known the concept of steam power for a very long time. The first ever steam engine is credited to the hero of Alexandria, who supposedly made it in the 1st century CE. That's 6743 in the galactic calendar. It's called an aeoliophile. It's a sphere with 2 small tubes coming out of it at an angle. Pouring water in the sphere and placing it on a heat source causes the water to boil, creating steam. The force of the steam coming out of the tubes makes it spin. Interesting, Farks said. You humans developed it quite early. Oh, no, Scott interjected. That's the first example of steam power in human history. Unfortunately, we had several collapses and near-extinction events since, so the knowledge was lost. How did you recover? Slowly, Scott answered. It wouldn't be until the 17th century CE that we would see steam again. It wouldn't be until 1769 that we got the first steam locomotive, and the first transport locomotive in 1804. He looked over at his friend. Let's take this back to the warehouse. Back at the warehouse, Farks helped Scott put the steam tractor away. Looking past the tractor, Farks saw a handful of other steam devices. What are those? Other steam engines, Scott replied, but I can't run those yet. Farks looked back at Scott. Why not? Scott pointed to one. That one is a train, and I don't have tracks set up yet. The others are stationary engines that would be found in a factory. Tracks? Farks repeated. That sounds like commitment. Yep, Scott affirmed with a nod. I plan on setting up my workshop here, put my work on display so all can see. He pointed a thumb to the outside. I'm even planning on having a lake put in so I can build a steamboat. Farks couldn't understand. Why here? Scott shrugged. Land's cheap, and this is close to 3 major universities who will undoubtedly be interested in my work. He walked to the front of the tractor. These machines are the progenitors of all human machinery. From these things we learnt and improved our designs. Without this, we wouldn't have internal combustion. Farks had another question. Why did humans look for a better way of powering things? Scott gave him a droll stare. You help me start this up, that's the first thing. Time. Steam takes too long to get going, while a gasoline or diesel engine could start immediately. Now, an easy start was spectacular, but gas and diesel engines were loud, spat oil and grease in your face, and they backfired constantly. He lovingly patted the tractor. Steam was seen as cleaner and more powerful. Fast couldn't surpass his disbelief. Cleaner and more powerful? My friend, we didn't even go fast enough to make a breeze. This wasn't just used to till dirt and haul things, God answered. That's why the flywheel is located right there. If this isn't tilling or hauling, it's powering something else. Lumber mills, mostly. These were mainly used in lumber and agriculture. Well, if they're so useful, Fox answered, what would drive you to stop using them? Scott gave him a sad look. Your favourite human thing happened. War. Fox let loose a curse. Why? Did you lot use these tractors to fatten yourselves too? When does war always find its way into everything humans do? That last question we've debated into the grave, Scott said, giving him a stern look, so I'll leave it. As for the war, we didn't use these to kill. He looked up at the tractor and his face went somber. Most of these beautiful pieces of history were either grabbed by the militaries, or they were scrapped from materials. Very few that saw military service survived, and if they did, they were scrapped later for another war. Fox looked around again at all the machines. So you built all of these by yourself? I had no idea you were so busy all these years. I can't take all the credit, Scott admitted. There's others like me who have a passion for old things. We all got together and built these from more schematics. He walked towards the door. Come on, we can continue this out of the heat. Fox began to follow him. So why call me out here to show me all of this? Because, Scott said from over his shoulder, I need other engineers to help me. So what do you say? Fox blinked in surprise. He should have known. My sister told you I lost my job, didn't she? Scott nodded. She called me after I read it in the news. It sucks, trust me. I know better than most. What do you say? Get to learn something very old yet very new? Fox thought for a moment, then nodded. What the hell? You probably pay better than my last job anyways.